To the graduating class of October 2020, congratulations. This message is to you, our students, on a day when we should be able to be together. When I should be able to look out and see your smiling faces as we celebrate the years of effort, sacrifice, and hard work that you've put into your graduate studies. I long to hood the students that I've spent anywhere from 2 years to 5 years or more with on this day, your day, to say good for you, you did it. I thought long and hard about how to convey our deep sense of pride in what you've accomplished and to share some thoughts that might lift you up and help you think about how the completion of a graduate degree is really something quite wonderful. I turned to philosopher, social activist, and teacher Maxine Green's book, Releasing the Imagination. Maxine wrote passionately about the social conditions needed to shape learning and spark imagination, and her work was always grounded in concepts of freedom and humanity. Decades ago, she called upon us to be aware of both the internal and external landscapes that influence schools, in particular, inequity, complacence, and exclusion. I quote, "Our classrooms ought to be nurturing and thoughtful and just at once. They ought to pulsate with multiple conceptions of what it is to be human and alive. They ought to resound with the voices of articulate young people in dialogues always incomplete because there's always more to be discovered and more to be said. We want our students to achieve friendship as each one stirs to wide awakeness, to imaginative action, and to renewed consciousness of possibility." This notion of wide awakeness is a concept that Green draws on from phenomenologist Alfred Schutz and poet Henry David Thoreau. It's only when we are wide awake that we can ask those meaningful questions that lead to meaningful change. We are in such disorienting and disruptive times, but I would argue that it is precisely now that we need to ask these important questions of the role that education can play in our world. As new graduates, you have an important role to play in shaping our future. Prompted by my rereading of Green, I also reread Albert Camus' The Plague, something I have not looked at since 1978. While some view it as an allegory for surviving fascism or rejecting truth, the lessons are still salient today. There are consequences for the way we act in the world. Human suffering can move us to rethink notions of competence, expertise, even morality. Our individual suffering gives way to a recognition that we are all suffering collectively, and as such, we have a social responsibility to act. In Camus' book, the ending suggests that when the plague is over, we're all willing to go back to life as we knew it and forget the lessons learned. Prior to the plague, Camus suggests that his characters were living routine, almost bored lives, largely focused on doing business, mechanistic and material lives. The character's failure to deal with the plague is a failure of imagination and our ability to truly appreciate the moment we're in. I want to leave you today with a piece written by Canadian poet Lee Maracle. It's called Hope Matters. Hope lives inside the artist, instrument, brush, voice, pen, sculpture, body. Hope breathes life inside those shadowy crevices where doubt waits to feast on our weakened and dimmer inner light. Hope gives us strength to trudge through the muck and the mire to find solid ground. Hope is the home of curiosity, imagination, intelligence, and compassion. Artists are an empathic link between hope and the outside world. Hope frees. Hope relieves. Hope moves us. Artists move people from inspiration to action and direct hope toward a new reality that can be shared by everyone. In the end, hope matters. Congratulations.